Okay, so now we're ready to lay out our blocks. You're going to need 4 blocks that are in this image with the lighter fabric on the left, and then 4 blocks with the lighter fabric on the right. So 8 total that you're going to be making, because they're going to result in 4 blocks that look like this. So when you're starting to piece, so make sure that you have the bottom of the triangle laid out on the bottom. And you know, when I'm laying them out, I actually always look at the picture so that I have it sitting in front of me in 4 and 4, okay? So they have it laid out like this, and they kind of have the fabric 4 on the right and fabric 4 on the left. There's a diagram. So this just looks like that to me here. So when you're first starting to piece, when I'm doing this, just to let you know how you piece it, the first time that you do this, you're going to take that first piece, and I put it on my right side, and I'm just going to lay that point exactly to the point of the top triangle. And then that bottom fabric will, that little blunt edge will match up with that point there. And of course your good 1/4 inch seam, you're going to sew it like that. This is one that's sewn together like this, and then it will press open. And then that is that pressed open, okay? And then my next block, that point will then match the top of that triangle like that. And then that blunt end will match down there, and then that will press open, and I'm just going to finger press that here. Now when you're cutting them, you will start with the V facing towards you, and then you're on your V block, I always have the emblem facing to my left as a right-hander, and then you have these little V's that is hard to see. I kind of have like a white diagram here, but there's a lot of V's facing here, and there's one that has a 4 on it, and I'm just not the 4 1/2 but the 4, and then there's a big 4 1/2 on the bottom because that's our final size. So I'm going to put the 4 1/2 kind of near the bottom of my block and match the 4 into my V. It might be a little bit hard to see on the camera, but that's my square up. So I'll put the 4 in the V, and then I'll kind of set that in, and then I'll do one cut this way, kind of like on our wing clipper, exactly like it, and cut that down. And then when I get that cut, I'll flip it this way, and then the 4 1/2 when I have that good cut down, and then there's a little X on the top where I can then do my 4 1/2 and cut it this way, and then that will be cut into a perfect square. Now when you're piecing these, now you have this diagonal piece, which is always hard to match up, and you can pin it. I actually like to use my Sew Line glue pen because it's the easy way for me to match these kind of angles up. And I'll stick a little glue, and I'll put those 2 seams right on top of each other and stick some glue in there and glue it, and stick some glue there and glue them right together. And then I'll sew my seam. And then after it's sewn, I do open that seam up and then kind of peel those apart. They're a little glued together, so it's a little bit harder to peel apart. And then press that, but then I have a very nice intersection right there, and then a really flat seam. Now when you are planning to press a seam open, I do have my seam allowance, not my seam allowance, but my seam stitch length a little bit smaller. Like I do it at 2.0 so that it won't push open. Okay, so if you're, sewing it like a 2.5, you might want to lower it. Like I said, I do mine at 2.0. Anyways, so that's your block, a beautiful little V block. Very nice. You have a nice 1/4 inch seam right there. So here's your block now. Of course, that would be pressed together, which I don't have. I'm sewn together. We talked about that earlier. And then you'd have those 4 blocks here. Okay, so here's your block here. So here's this here, and then these are your intersections. So you have an intersection that you have to precision piece here, one here, 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 here. So you got some precision piecing, but here's your blocks sitting out here with this color here, which makes a really nice block. And as I said before, this should be a 16 1/2 unfinished. So this is going to be the center of your masterpiece quilt here. So this is how it's going together, okay? So that's how we get it together, and enjoy. And hopefully the videos are helping you put this together. So enjoy it, and we'll see you next time.